just taking our questions and being here. But we all know that access to healthy foods is not always easy or affordable for many. What are some ways that you hope to change this?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I would say that you cannot afford to eat bad foods because it's going to affect your health and you're going to pay later on. And, you know, with food, we can solve the diabetes crisis. Most people who have diabetes or pre-diabetic can be cured with good food. And if they choose instead to be cured by Ozempic, the government then pays $1,500 a month for the rest of their lives. And with a fraction of that, we could give everybody organic foods 3 meals a day in this country. What I would do is, you know, the first thing I do isn't going to cost you anything because I'm just going to tell the cereal companies to take all the dyes out of their food.
It seems pretty simple.
Give us the same cereal.
Yes, we are back here, 7:43 in the PM here on WLTH 1370 AM. That voice you heard was, again, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. talking about getting the dyes out of our food. I think a lot of people genuinely don't know how toxic the food that we are eating here in this country is. Like I said, a lot of the ingredients in our food is banned in Western Europe, in Asia, in other countries, even in some South American countries. And so now we're seeing even things like cereal come under attack because of the toxic chemicals that are in their products that, like I said, in much of the world, they don't have these ingredients in their products. So we know they can be made without that because in the rest of the world, they're not allowed to have it. So Kellogg's, which makes Fruit Loops, are coming under fire because they are facing mounting pressure to remove the colorings and flavorings that have been associated with cancer, with ADHD and migraines. So that's Kellogg's. In particular, Fruit Loops and Apple Jacks have been blasted because the U.S. version contains a lot of the ingredients that are banned in Europe, Canada, and Australia. Several of Kellogg's cereals contain additives that have been outlawed or restricted in Europe, Canada, and Australia, including Apple Jacks, where they make the same cereal just with less harmful ingredients. Why is that so hard? Now, Fruit Loops, American Fruit Loops, contain red number 40, yellow number 5, and yellow number 6, which have been linked to cancer, tumors, and hyperactivity in children. Apple Jacks contain blue number 1, which has also been linked to hyperactivity and kidney tumors in mice. Good God. The American arm of Kellogg's is worth $1.5 billion today. So now you know what this is about. It's about
money, money.
Yes, money, money, money. They voluntarily removed their artificial food dyes from their cereals in Europe because they were going to have to put cigarette type warnings on the product. So imagine you go to a grocery store and you pick up a box of cereal, and on the side of the box is, this cereal may cause cancer, blah, blah, blah. That's what they were going to have to do. So in Europe and the rest of the world, they had no problem just saying, okay, we'll just take those products out of the cereal. But in America, since we live in a right-wing corporate dystopia, they get to keep killing us. And then we wonder why we're all sick, why we all have high blood pressure and diabetes and cancer. This is why. The food we've been eating since we were kids, it's literally killing us. It's gotten so bad that even one of the heirs to the Kellogg dynasty has come out and condemned what Kellogg has become. You know, she's saying, look, you guys need to boycott. The great-great-granddaughter of Kellogg is saying you need to boycott it. Now, red number 40 is a synthetic dye that is made from petroleum. Europe restricted its use in 2010 after a study suggested that it was causing hyperactivity in children, requiring companies that use it to slap a cigarette package style warning on the product. The Cleveland Clinic has said that the dye is also linked to irritability, depression, skin irritation, migraines, and was suggested to have caused tumors in animals that were exposed in very high doses. Now, we have whole generations of young people who are committing suicide, who are depressed, who are drug addicts, who, don't know whether they're coming or going. They don't know what their identity is, their gender identity, their cultural identity. Are we not looking at what we're feeding these kids? Now, it's not been outlawed yet in this country, but California is set to ban products that contain the coloring from its schools by December 2027. Yellow number 5 and yellow number 6 are made from coal tar. Coal tar! They're putting stuff in our kids' cereal that is made from coal tar. This is used to give food a bright and appetizing yellow color. Oh boy. It's also been linked to hyperactivity in children. Studies in humans have also suggested that it can damage the DNA in white blood cells and raise the risk of tumors forming. A 2019 study also found that high concentrations of yellow number 5 cause flies to die. Good God. European regulators require that food contain yellow number 5 and yellow number 6 to carry a warning label, but of course, in America, which is a right-wing corporate dystopia, there's no such restrictions. Blue number 1 is made from oils, although initially it was also made from coal tar. And it's used to give food, a blue color. It makes it look more blue. It's also linked to hyperactivity in children and has been banned in Europe. There are no such restrictions in the United States. Now, for instance, right, Apple Jacks. You look at Apple Jacks. In the Australian form of Apple Jacks, the ingredients are maize flour, wheat flour, oat flour, sugar, salt, natural flavor, natural colors. Now, natural colors are paprika extract, curcumin, copper chlorophyll. It's also got minerals in it, which are iron and zinc oxide, and vitamins, niacin, vitamin B6, riboflavin, and folate. Okay, that's the Australian version. In the American version of Apple Jacks, there's corn flour blend, there's sugar, wheat flour, whole grain oat flour, modified food starch, vegetable oil, which is hydrogenated coconut, soybean, and or cottonseed, oat fiber, salt, soluble corn fiber, degerminated yellow corn flour, dried apples, apple juice concentrate, corn starch, cinnamon, natural flavors, modified corn starch, yellow number 6, wheat starch, baking soda, yellow number 5, red number 40, blue number 1, BHT for freshness. I don't even want to know what BHT stands for. And vitamins and minerals, reduced iron, niacinamide, vitamin B6, which is pyridoxine hydrochloride, vitamin B2, which is riboflavin, vitamin B1, which is thiamine hydrochloride, folic acid, vitamin D3, and vitamin B12. Now, it took me about twice as long to read what was in the American form of Apple Jacks as is in the Australian Apple Jacks. So this is just give you some example of what they're doing. And this isn't just a issue with Kellogg's either. We're also looking at this isn't just with Apple Jacks either. We're looking at other cereals as well, like Cheerios. Which is made by General Mills. Studies have found that 80% of Americans are exposed to fertility-lowering chemicals in Cheerios and Quaker Oats. Fertility-lowering chemicals in Cheerios and Quaker Oats. A recent study found that 4 in 5 Americans tested positive for an agricultural chemical found in several wheat and oat products, including brands such as Cheerios and Quaker Oats. The peer-reviewed study published in the Journal of Exposure Science and Environmental Epidemiology looked at the urine samples from American citizens to determine their exposure to chlorumquat chloride. Good God. A plant growth chemical. We just talked about that a few minutes ago with one of the callers. This is what they're spraying on the food. Chlorumquat chloride, a plant growth chemical that lowers your fertility. Exposure to the chemical can result in lower fertility and harm developing fetuses. Even at doses below acceptable levels set by regulators, researchers detected chlorumquat in 80% of urine samples collected between 2017 and 2023, with a significant increase in concentrations for samples from 2023. The chemical was detected in 92% of oat-based foods purchased in May 2023, including Quaker Oats and Cheerios. Good God. 1 in 8 organic oat products also had the chemical, while 2 in 9 wheat products had low concentrations of chlorumquat. Whoa, boy. This is why I say I'm no fan of Donald Trump, but I really hope he does what he said he was going to do. And you know, you can never really depend on him to do what he says he's going to do, because he is a professional liar. But when he said he was going to let RFK Jr. go crazy on the food, this is what I hope he's talking about. Robert F. Kennedy said he's going to make them take all these dyes out of our cereal that we feeding our children. And then we're looking at a population hollowing out. We've been talking about this for years. In a few weeks, I was about to do a story about how low the birth rate was. Meanwhile, we're all eating food that's lowering our fertility. Maybe they're doing this on purpose. Maybe this is their form of population control. I know a lot of y'all have some interesting views about that.